I'm Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, and everybody's got a price for lazy booking. Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, and you're listening to Lazy Booking. No, it's true. It's damn true. Ho! Hey, folks, I'm WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and if you want to know what's going on in wrestling, check out Lazy Bookings. Ho!
Oh, hell yeah! Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of Lazy Booking. I am Masasudi. This is the one and only Mike Mataraki. And then along here is Mr. Chrome himself, Mike Chromiak. And today, it is a very special, special day, gentlemen.
How special is it?
Oh, it is so special. It's Eugene special. It is the Lazies right here on A2DRadio.com.
Yes, sir.
Wow, we had a dramatic pause there.
We
Nice.
did,
I like it.
yeah,
That's how awesome it is.
You're not going to give any love to the man on the ones and twos?
Oh, I was about to. I just thought I was going to get a reaction out of that one. But anyway, how's it going, Mr. Ryan Brodo?
It's going good, Matty. How
Crickets,
are you?
crickets,
You don't,
crickets.
you don't get reaction out of things that are not politically correct.
Oh, okay, because we live in the PC era now. Okay,
boy.
God forbid.
WWE's a publicly traded company, brother.
Okay.
I think it's known as the PG era, actually.
But you see, the response is A2D is not even a privately traded company, so we can do what we want.
This is
There
true.
you go.
True.
So that's the response right there. But Lazy Booking brought to you by Gibson Mayer, LLC, your certified public accounts, located at 301.
Make them yours.
Yeah.
Our certified public accounts.
Yes, that is true.
Make them yours.
And they're located at 301 Oxford Valley Road in Yardley, PA. And you could give them a call, 215-369-3300. Hey, there's a few guarantees in life, and taxes are one of those guarantees.
And it's tax season right now.
Yep, so definitely be ready, be prepared. Get Gibson Mayer. That's what you got to do.
Boom.
And, of course,
That's intensity
you
right
just
there.
slammed it
At
right
its
there.
finest.
oh, it's because it's the Lazies, man. You got to step it up. Step that shit up, man.
That's right.
He
Get
just hit
fired
2
up.
out of the 3 eyes.
Intensity.
Intelligence.
Oh, okay, all right. I wasn't sure about the other two.
I don't know if you got integrity.
Yeah, we got to
you
work
go,
on that.
okay.
We got to figure that
We'll
out.
figure that part out later on. All right. We'll get that down someday. All right, so Lazy Booking today with the Lazies. Got so much awards to give out between who's the best wrestler, who's the best female wrestler, what big matches we had for the year, and what was our fan moment, what was our mark-out moment. Oh, man, I'm looking forward to that.
Sealed envelopes, folks. And I am the only person here, out of Ryan, Matt, Mike, all you guys out there, I'm the only person who knows who won.
Audited by the accounting firm of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe.
Yeah. No, I don't know. By the accounting firm of #HeelChrome and Kiss My Ass.
But guess what, folks? Even though you were a part in the voting of the Lazies, you can
Yes.
also get in on the Twitter as well right now, because the poll we do have going on tonight is, what is next for the one and only Chris Jericho? Will he have an extended run in NJPW? Will he return to WWE, which some would say is imminent, which I would say so? And will he work between both, or is it all about Fozzy, baby?
Fozzy!
Did you just cross-pollinate Adam Cole and Chris Jericho?
No, Chris Jericho was the original baby.
That's,
Okay?
sorry, that's true.
All right, let's be honest here. Let's not take that away from Chris.
That is
He's
true.
had 900 catchphrases, and he deserves every single one of them the credit.
Very true. Very true.
He's the king of the catchphrases. That's what Chris Jericho will go down for.
Absolutely. So
Do you understand what I'm saying to you right now?
Oh God, maybe we should go through a list of 1,001 sponsors. Let's go. Let's start there. Now, guys.
The 1,001 quotes of Jericho?
Guys, so I know we're going to get into the Lazies. We had a lot of fun with this last year. You guys definitely had a lot of say in this, and I can honestly tell you, from the votes, there were winners that were swayed. And I'll break down how everything was decided before we do the winners. But I know we felt it was very, very important. Now that we're on the air, we had last week off. The Lazies were supposed to be last week. We had a tough winter storm here. But with that said, we wanted to go over Jericho Omega from WrestleKingdom 12. I did put out a 1-minute video, so a lot of people know how I feel. But I wanted to get your guys' reaction before I kind of chime back in on those things. So, gentlemen, how do we feel about the actual event taking place of Alpha versus Omega?
I'll go ahead, Matty. I'll let you start, brother.
Wow. I mean, like that match for two guys who have never wrestled each other ever a day in their life.
Ever.
And them just going out there and just pulling out all the stops literally had they were like, do what you guys want to do. That's pretty much what they pretty much said. And they did everything they wanted to do, and it was fun. It told a really fun story, I thought, because Jericho just was coming off like such a smug SOB, which he always does very well. When he wants to be a heel, he's really great at being a heel. And Kenny just, he had that great comeback with the babyface comeback in a matchup that he wasn't too familiar with. He got to do some high-flying stuff. The one spot where he just went straight into the table, I thought he died. Like, I was just like, whew, he cleared the guard railing and went right through the table. It was unbelievable. I thought the match was great. I thought it was amazing, that match.
Yeah, I mean, it was nuts. Mike, what do you got?
Well, I will say this. I watched it 3 times. I literally...
I don't even know if that's enough.
You're probably right, but you and I actually talked early in the morning Eastern time.
Yeah, we did.
The morning after the night after in Japan, or however you want to you want to call it.
I had told you, because I woke up perfect timing. I didn't even set my alarm. I fell asleep too early, but I woke up right as Omega was getting into the ring, and I'm like, yeah,
it was like his biological clock was like, oh my God, Jericho, Omega. But we talked, and you didn't even go into detail. You just said it was phenomenal. I think you said 15 out of 10 stars. And I was like, okay, well, I need to then carve out some time during my work day. And luckily that was the day that it snowed.
Yeah, it was a rough day.
So, I'm basically working from home all day. So while I'm eating lunch, sit down at my desk and I watch the broadcast from NJPW World with Kevin Kelly and Don Callis. Mm-hmm. The one where... Oh, we got knocked off the air. Are we still on the air? We lost our transmission when they didn't lose anything.
Yeah.
Went back and watched it again that night with the Japanese broadcast just to try to get a feel for the emotion.
Which, by the way, is awesome. I have watched it before. You don't understand a damn word they're saying, but you can hear they're telling the story from their reaction. It's amazing. You can
just feel the emotion.
That's how I watched all of last year's WrestleKingdom, was in the Japanese broadcast.
I think that's how most people have watched most of the WrestleKingdom.
And then Saturday, I guess Saturday night, I watched it on Access TV, beginning to end again with Jim Ross and Josh Barnett. And I mean, all 3 times I picked up on different things that I hadn't caught the time before. Personally, for me, the best announce crew for the match, I think, was Kevin Kelly and Don Callis, but I think it was because Don Callis kind of became part of the angle. And then if you know the backstory of him actually being the one who came up with the idea for the match in the first place, it all kind of, sort of makes sense, even though there's things that we're not supposed to know that we know.
Right.
But the match itself could have been a match that just was all hype, and they got in the ring and they did a nice job, and 3.5 stars, and away they went.
Right.
But these guys not only lived up to the hype, they exceeded it. They far exceeded it.
Which is so rare these days.
Yeah, and I know on the Meltzer scale, Meltzer gave it 5 stars. I probably would have been closer to 7 or 8. Mm-hmm. I actually think for what it was better than Omega and Okada, simply because it told a far different kind of story. Mm-hmm. And to me, it was much more, and I think this was the no DQ clause that you were talking about, but I think the no DQ actually made it a lot more realistic, because if you go back to WrestleKingdom last year and you look at Omega and Okada, and it was literally just, hope spot, near fall, finisher, near fall, finisher, near fall, hope spot, near fall. Like, every near fall in Jericho Omega meant something, and everything was so calculated that the match to me was just off the charts.
Yeah, and I think, and I said this in the video, the one thing that me and you had discussed privately long before the match even came up or had actually gone down was, is the no DQ going to be something that makes it gimmicky and takes away from it? And I just think, to what you had said with the build, with Twitter, and just kind of it was almost like a slow burn that eventually it came to fruition. It made it that much more, and like you said, more realistic, because they made it like that heat generated more and more and more and just exploded. And what they proved, as I said before, unlike with WWE, and not just WWE, other organizations, whether it's on the indies, if it's the the big leagues, whatever you want to say, it is that you don't need to overbook it. Every no DQ has interference, has these screwy endings. You don't need that. These guys proved you can go out there, you could put that no DQ in, and even if you're a heel, you just use the tactics. It's like, oh, I know it's a no DQ, but did he have to go there?
I want to hit on something you said there, but I'll let Maddie chime in here real quick because I have a feeling we're on the same page.
Well,
Go ahead.
The funny thing though about that was that it's kind of like how wrestling usually is done in Japan, where they let the wrestlers put the match together. They're not afraid to do that. Where you feel like sometimes WWE has to. The corporate side or Triple H or Stephanie or Vince have to get their hands in it somehow. They just can't help themselves. It's like they're addicted to it. It's like a drug addiction. You have to have it. I have to be a part in it. I can't actually be a wrestler anymore, Triple H decide, or I wanted to be a wrestler. My dad wouldn't let me, Vince McMahon. Mm-hmm. I have to try and live out this fantasy, and I got to do this, and we got to do that because I want this spot to happen. It's like, let the guys go out there and do it because they've been doing it for how long? They know what they're doing, and especially in a case like Chris Jericho, he's been doing it for years. He knew how to get Kenny over. He knew how to highlight Kenny. He also knew Kenny knew how to highlight him. And that's just because you took the hands-off approach. And you said, even with no DQ, they said, do what you want to do.
Yeah, and
do what you want to do.
And I actually believe as of today, we can take the hopes of Omega showing up at Royal Rumble out because I believe he re-upped with New Japan for another year.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's correct. And I don't think that if Omega was going to show up in WWE... Is that me? That's me. I think if he was going to...
guy.
I am that guy. He, trained professional, was just here last night, but, hey. I think if Omega was going to show up, it'd be WrestleMania. And I understand Royal Rumble's typically the only time of the year where WWE can actually surprise people because you don't know who the entrants are until they're announced or the music plays or the countdown happens or whatever. But I think... To me, at this point, the Royal Rumble match itself does not do Omega justice. The only thing that WWE would get out of that would be the fact that he appeared. He needs to wrestle one-on-one matches for you to get your money's worth out of Omega because he's now going to command six figures for a one-shot deal in WWE.
100%.
But real quick, I want to go back to the point you were making about the no DQ. I think the key to that whole scenario was I think everybody thought that once it went no DQ, what was going to happen with the Bullet Club? How much interference was there going to be? Were they going to figure into the finish? And how was Jericho then going to counteract that?
Yeah.
And the fact that they went no DQ but did the entire match with zero outside interference, to me, gave it elevated it a whole star on its own right there.
And that's exactly what I was saying with the overbooking. There has to be somebody to interfere. No, you don't need that. And it was interesting the way the storytelling, because in the beginning with Jericho with the early attack and the Bullet Club kind of hopping in the ring and then everybody jumping in, the guys in the red shoes pushing them back.
Red shoes, I love it.
It just kind of, it almost made you think they could appear later on. Possibly. And they didn't go there, and I loved it. It was amazing. Jericho, 47 years friggin' old. 47 years old. And he and did he have a little bit of a little tubbiness going on? I think he did, and the people notated that talking. He wasn't in pristine shape, but I'll tell you what, the guy can work in even if he wasn't in 100% shape like he normally is. Dude outworked most guys who are in 120% shape.
You know what he is in? He's in rockstar shape.
He is. He sure as hell is.
But it doesn't even matter anyway because he kept up with Kenny Omega. And how young is Kenny compared to him? I mean, he kept right up with Kenny Omega.
And Omega might be the best in the world.
Although,
WWE or not WWE, he might be the best superstar in the world right now.
To be fair, though, I mean, the match was, 34 minutes?
Something. Yeah,
I'd be willing to bet that if Jericho was in a little better shape, and the previous match hadn't run 20 minutes long, according to Omega. The previous match went 20 minutes over. I'd be willing to bet that they would have given them 45 to 50 minutes.
Absolutely.
I just think...
And that's common for New Japan.
Yeah, for what they wanted to do, they could have easily gotten another 10 to 12 minutes out of that. I don't know if Jericho could have handled it, and I think that 35 minutes was probably the sweet spot for him. but when he gets back into quote-unquote ring shape, I could see them doing another one.
Oh, yeah.
45, 50 minutes.
Well, we probably got Naito coming up, so.
And speaking of that, too, actually, that match, you kind of feel bad for Okada and Naito because they had to come right after that, and you're just like, as good as they were, it's just like, oh, Kenny and Chris should have been the main event. It really should have been the main event. Not to take away from Okada and Naito. They did a great job, and they had a really great match. I'm a little confused as to why Okada retained, but still, at the end of the day, though, I still think Jericho and Omega should have been the main event. They absolutely crushed it, and Naito and Okada did the best they could, but all they could do was, they weren't Kenny and Jericho good, but they certainly were still good.
Listen, in a lot of ways, they were the main event. Regardless of what spot on the card they were the main event.
Well, but you know how it is in Japan. I mean, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship will always,
and it should be
the main event.
And
you're right, it should be.
It's understandable, though. You know, it's the most valuable title.
But I mean, they know that match, Jericho and Omega, sold a lot of subscriptions and everything else to build up to that. So they made a lot of money on that. They understand that's a main event.
So do we want to hit the Twitter question real quick?
Let's well, I'm going to hit some Facebook real quick.
Go ahead.
Because Facebook's been flying. Tom says work between both because Tom had to get his answer in, which I love it. Tom, thank you, Tom.
I actually think the same thing. I think he's going to
I think
bounce back and
I
forth.
believe that Jericho will be at the Royal Rumble. I truly, wholeheartedly believe that.
Real quick, though. How funny is it that Michael Cole and to a certain extent Tom Phillips refer to John Cena on WWE programming as the free agent so that he can bounce back and forth between Raw and SmackDown when everybody knows that the real free agent is Chris Jericho?
Absolutely. I know. I know. It's and again, that's one of those WWE tags that they put on there. Michael Lipinski, holla if you hear me.
Brother, we'll call it whatever we want to call it. What's up, Mike?
Dion Brown, taxes and bills. I don't know what that means unless I missed something earlier.
Oh, maybe Gibson Mayer.
Oh, there you go. Okay. And he put Ric Flair's daughter as hot.
Woo!
Michael Lipinski also put 1,004 holds. So
that would be correct.
that is correct.
That's an old school WCW reference.
Billy Thrasher. Billy Thrasher says Tito 316. You son of a bitch. Tito's back. Tito's back this week, guys.
Billy Thrasher from Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
That's like the wrestling mecca of Canada.
You have to have the Lance Storm pregnant pause in there, though.
Arthur Shimko Jr. says Y2J will have a New Japan run and definitely return to WWE. Jericho could be a type of heel that couldn't be in WWE and was able to tell an awesome story with Omega. Frank Vespi, going to try to answer as best I can. Okay. I'm going to try to answer as best I can. Jericho's going to stay in New Japan Pro Wrestling, but I think that he is there as a ploy for the WWE to convince Omega to a deal. Would not be surprised if Omega shows up at a Big Four pay-per-view. On an unrelated note, I'm having an audition, and I have to do a monologue going to do The Rock's Hell in a Cell promo leading up to Armageddon 2000.
Oh, God.
That was a great promo.
It was a great promo.
There's a lot of great Rock promos. That's one of the best ones to pick from. Oh, it's classic.
Went down the line of every single person in that match and just buried
Frank,
them.
I hope you crush it, dude. Definitely. I wish you so much luck on that.
I told Frank last night he should have gone with the Austin 3:16 rant, though. You want your prayers? You want your psalms? You want your John 3:16?
You talk about your prayers. You thump your Bible.
And it didn't get you anywhere.
Austin 3:16 says I just whooped your ass.
Brian Attard says the best part of the match was introducing WWE fans to a completely different style, and the differences were stark and clear, even really infrequent WWE viewers, which I absolutely agree with, and I think that was a goal.
Yeah.
I don't even know it's necessarily trying to take away WWE fans, but it's letting them know, like, they know that he's going to draw the eyes of that crowd.
Oh, yeah.
And hey, guys, there's another alternative to watch that you're going to see a different style. Nothing wrong with that by bringing their own kind of guy in. And they told almost a WWE-esque type with an old school feel by the build up to it.
It felt kind of like one of those, I wouldn't say necessarily, not necessarily Attitude Era, but kind of past Attitude Era, but in the mid-2000s, like the kind of crazy match that went on all outside the ring that pretty much eventually ended in the ring. That's kind of how the matches worked back then, and that's kind of what they were telling here, where they were wrestlers were allowed to do the match that they wanted to do. They weren't told to do this. They did what they wanted to do.
Brian Attard, comment back in and let us know what's going on with the situation there. Want to know if you're a papa yet here. I want to give you the congratulations.
Yes.
From the lazy booking crew.
Yes.
Last I had heard, his wife had been in labor for like 36 hours or something like that, but admittedly, I'm a little behind the eight ball on this.
Keep us posted there. Tom chimes in and says, I love this show, and I have no clue what's even being said. And then Matt Milcarrick says, Tom, you have to familiarize yourself. Tom says, no, I don't. LOL.
It's his product. He does whatever he wants.
In the middle of this, because there's more, Jim Velasco puts hashtag Chrome loves Tito. I told you, this is the shit that I get. But Michael Lipinski says, Tom's afraid that he'd actually like it. And Matt Milcarrick says, more like daytime soap opera than Shakespeare. And now Tom says, now that's real talk. And he says, I love a good soap.
Hey, there you go. Soap Stash, LLC.
And Ralph Delavecchia, what up, boys? What up, Ralph?
What's up, Ralphie?
Love Ralph. He's a good dude, man. Let me see. Who else do we got here? Velasco also says, Omega signed a New Japan Pro Wrestling contract that goes until January 2019, which I just touched on. I had heard that today. If that news is true, he's not going anywhere anytime soon. Doesn't surprise me because I had read that. And he says, did you guys bring up the odd officiating, the rope breaks and weird counts, and a no DQ?
Now, actually, that was something I almost – you would think
you
that
can touch on it, guys.
Here's the weird part. I was actually sitting there scratching my head at it, too. I'm like, okay, so we have a no disqualification match, but we have rope breaks. I don't understand that. It didn't necessarily take me out of the match. It was just one of those moments you scratch your head like, okay, maybe it's a rule in Japan, not a rule in the United States, where once you touch the ropes, you have to break. So we're just following that rule in Japan, whereas in America, it doesn't matter.
Well, if you paid very close attention, though, there were times when they would get to the ropes and Red Shoes would start to count, and Jericho would look over at him and go, it's no DQ, jackass. So Jericho played into the whole,
he did.
I'm not going to break on the ropes, and they used that then to set up the spot later on where they went to the corner and there was no break. And while Omega was still in I guess it was at that point, it wasn't the Lion Tamer. It was still the Walls of Jericho.
Yeah.
And he reaches under the apron and pulls out the cold spray, which to me, the one spot in that match that I could have done without was after he used the cold spray on Jericho. He was looking for that 1 minute of comedic relief where he took the cold spray and kind of went, psh, psh,
yeah.
psh,
Oh, yeah.
and then went, whoa, and kind of freaked out because he shot himself in the
the
nads
balls,
with
yeah.
cold spray. To me, that match just, that comedy spot didn't work there. And
It wasn't needed.
That's probably the only negative thing I could say about that entire match was after he used the cold spray, to me, he should have just got up and beat the living shit out of him instead of going to the comedy spot.
And my thing with, listen, it happens everywhere. WWE takes liberties with it, but I think, the natural reaction, the referees are still, the natural reaction is call for a rope break.
Right.
Jericho, like you said, just says, there's no DQ, you idiot, and it's done, and that's how it goes. To me, that's a nitpick. Yeah. It only came up once, maybe a second time, and I noticed it, but as the match went on, I completely forgot about that. Yeah. It's a nitpick to me. And Matt also says, I swear at one point they were out of the ring for like 5 minutes, then all of a sudden they started counting to 20.
They did,
listen,
yeah.
WWE has the longest 10 seconds in the history of anything in the world. Even with it, I said this, New Japan has a 20 count, WWE has a 10 count, and New Japan could count the 20 count 5 times before WWE gets the 110 count. Yeah. Well, so let's be, again, that's a nitpick.
But this is what's interesting, though, and it's something that I've just learned within the last probably 6 months of watching New Japan a lot more closely. And you guys probably already knew this. To me, it was new, was for New Japan, a lot of times the referee will follow them outside of the ring.
Yes.
and will tell them, he'll try to shepherd them back into the ring for a while,
Right.
and then tell them, I'm going to start a count.
Yeah.
And then you hear the count actually over the PA system.
Yes, they
So
do that. Yeah.
so they actually. I actually think that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Where the referee starts to count and their ring announcer counts along with the ref over the PA system, because to me, when you hear that ring announcer getting to, 16, 17, 18, 19, that just builds up the drama.
Absolutely.
I mean, how many times have you seen a count out in WWE where you don't even realize
It's a count out.
that it's a count out?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, there's sometimes where the bell doesn't ring, but a match started.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, and again, if you're not a person who doesn't watch a lot of New Japan or even a decent amount of it, you don't realize there's differences in the style, not just in the ring, but the way it's officiated. So that's something that, like, we've seen that before. It's not anything that's crazy uncommon. But if you're not used to seeing it, I could see why it would stand out to you.
The weird part is, too, is because a lot of times they take some of it from like martial arts, and MMA as well. They actually apply some of those rules to the wrestling side of it because they've had that over in Japan for years, well before the United States even cared remotely about somebody like a Conor McGregor. They were caring long before that. They applied a lot of those rules into the wrestling world. That's why it's a little different than what you would see in the United States, but I like it personally.
I got a couple here on the YouTube, actually. David Rosca. Hey,
David, what's up, buddy?
Hey, boys, what's up? Sonia and Mandy are sick. All
Yes.
right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right,
I'm on the main.
Sonia, local girl.
Is she really?
She is a local
Yeah,
girl from
apparently.
around this area. She trained MMA around here.
Because I'd be on the Mandy train. Sonia, I dig the MMA stuff. I
told you. Are you on Snapchat? I got to send you her Snapchat.
No, I don't do Snapchat.
Oh, you would.
I don't do Snapchat. I don't
Some of
do
the-
I don't
some
do
of the-
Periscope.
Listen,
Look,
some of the Snapchat accounts, brother.
The fact that I'm on Twitter is like a
Listen,
freaking miracle. Okay.
I'll tell you what, though.
beneath
Some of the
Mr. Mataraki.
Snapchat accounts that I could send you, you'd be on Snapchat real quick, brother.
All right, we'll revisit this after the show.
Mike, you're not even on Instagram, right?
No.
So if he's not on
Jesus.
Instagram, there's no way he's on Snapchat.
And then Todd Womack. Jericho proved he's the alpha in wrestling. What a show he and Kenny put on. The only problem I had with the match was that the blade job was very noticeable. LOL. Other than that, it was amazing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but blading is not necessarily done in NJPW, so I think that's probably half the reason why. Like, it's not what it's known for.
Yeah.
And they don't really do blading in Japan. If you're in a hardcore promotion in Japan, you really get cut. So,
Yeah.
it's
Brian, your boy Brian jumped back in here. Brian, it's hard.
What do you say?
Says, well, she's not yet in labor, believe it or not.
Oh!
Watching from the hospital, she's in the induction process, looking like sometime overnight to tomorrow for little guy to come out. Thanks, Mike.
Brian, you poor soul.
Brother, I hope it
It's gotta
happens
be-
for you
it's,
quick.
It's got to be so
I hope it-
goddamn stressful for you guys.
I
right now.
hope it happens for you and your
But
wife
I
and
love
all
that he's watching at the hospital.
Yes.
It's a beautiful thing.
That is beautiful.
We'll keep the broadcast going through the entire process.
Did
We'll
we-
have the
did-
live
did-
reactions.
Did we just have another NWA Mid-Atlantic reference?
And then he says,
We gotta go, but we'll keep the cameras rolling. And if there's a title change, we'll show it to you next week.
it's Thunder or it's Nitro. We're out of time, fans.
We gotta go.
We gotta go. We'll keep the cameras rolling. We'll see you next week on Thunder. Oh God. But yeah, no, we got a couple more here on Facebook too. And Brian says, Mike, I 1,000% agree. The spray shot was dumb. Added nothing. But Bill Casey responds, can't be upset about the cold spray shot because Kenny and the Bucks do it all the time in all their matches.
All right. Well,
I don't watch.
yeah,
I don't watch that closely to know that. I still don't know if it necessarily was. It wasn't necessary.
I'm not upset about
No, that's
it.
not a nitpick, by the
Yeah.
way. It's an oversight to me. I mean, it's not a big deal.
I mean, far be it though from the Young Bucks.
Sonia's
and-
from Chemung, by the way.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, down in this area. Interesting. The one thing, though, is that, Young Bucks and Kenny, they've always done their goofy spots. Like, even in the most serious of matches, they could have blood just gushing out of their heads, still do a goofy spot. It's their characteristic. It's how they identify.
And Matt Milcarrick chimes back in and says, I was told that refs in Japan don't know the spots or the finish. They keep them in the dark. Do you guys know if that's true? Hey. Do we know if that is true? I've heard that, but I don't know definitively. I like that idea, though, because it keeps the reaction fresh. It's
it's
on the
yeah.
wrestlers to not screw shit up either.
Well,
You don't get those fake, like, obvious it's supposed to be a 3 count, and they just,
Right.
like, do a slow up and roll to give them a chance if they miss it.
Well, I from what I can tell, they don't wear an earpiece.
I haven't seen an
I've
earpiece
never
on it.
noticed a New Japan referee with an earpiece. But, I mean, if we want to, and I'll go back to the line I used last night a little bit, if we want to peel back the curtain a little bit, what we were talking about before we went on the air was the episode of Talk is Jericho that came out this week where Kenny and Chris were talking about how they put the match together. And, Maddie, we were talking about how everything has to be kayfabed and they can't be seen in public anywhere, even in the arena, together talking unless they're actually in the privacy of their own dressing rooms. So it wouldn't surprise me one bit if the referee doesn't know the finish. But at the same time, you know, how many times have we heard interviews with wrestlers where they say that the referee is just as important as getting the match over as their opponent?
Right, but that's almost, again, that's almost like a WWE style thing, though, because when you watch New
Fair
Japan,
point.
one thing I'll say, and again, this could be what the rope breaks thing, because I've heard people make this point too. I've heard that, and then I've heard, you know, it's almost at points sometimes, and it's not a knock at all, but it's almost like they get caught up as a fan into the match when there's a really intense match. So that could be something that contributes to, I mean, that maybe that's why that happens, because they're totally in the dark and don't know what's going to happen, and maybe they're just as surprised as everybody else. It's a natural reaction.
By the way, just wanted to let everybody know of the new generation fans out there, kayfabe was when bad guys and good guys cannot be seen together, because that's a foreign concept nowadays. Just letting everybody know.
Yes,
She was also the executive producer of Tuesday Night Titans.
Oh, really?
Wow. I promise you, if you ever go back and you look at the closing credits of Tuesday Night, was it Tuesday Night Titans? What was the WWE talk show?
I think it was.
I
think it was Tuesday Night Titans.
On USA Network.
Yeah, I think
where
it was.
Vince played like the Johnny Carson role.
Yeah, it
and
was
Lord
Tuesday Night
Alfred
Titans.
Hayes was his Ed McMahon. Yes. So the executive producer of that show was Kay Fabe.
I know it's an unpopular opinion. I was never a Lord Alfred Hayes guy.
Nah.
Oh, he drove me nuts. I thought he was the most annoying person.
I've never understood why was he in, like, I guess he was a big part of WWE before the giant Hulkamania expansion.
You got to go back to like WWWF.
Oh,
He was there for a while. He was a legacy guy.
He was he was a legacy guy.
Okay.
Todd Womack actually asked a really great question
Oh,
here.
Todd.
And Ryan, thanks for bringing that to our attention.
No problem,
And he
man.
said, do you guys think Brock versus Roman is still the main event, I'm assuming for WrestleMania, or will that change? I'm starting to lean on change.
Well, this is the world of the audible in WWE. They always call one every 5 minutes.
Ryan wants to jump right in on this one.
Go ahead, brother. You got a
I
mic.
think the only thing that could be up for change in that match, or the only question on that match is Roman Reigns going to have the Intercontinental title or not? I think that's
think
the
he
only
probably
question mark
won't.
with that match.
I am going to say I think he's going to drop the title to Miz.
Yeah,
I
probably.
absolutely
I hope so.
think that he's going to drop the title to Miz. So I don't think so. I don't think at that point he's going to have it. That said, I'm going to be really interested. I honestly can't say I can give a definitive answer for that. I mean, right now, I would say yes, just because I don't know. Like, I think that's going to be the match, because I don't know what you got to get the build and eventually the finish of Brock and Roman, and he's really the only guy I think right now that makes sense to take it off. Or unless it's Braun, and then you have Roman and Braun again.
I think
Which is possible.
I think it's a lock.
Well,
I really do.
Todd said, is it official that it's going to be AJ versus Nakamura? I don't know that it's official. And as much as that match could absolutely tear the house down, Vince will never, ever main event a little guy in AJ versus a Japanese guy in Nakamura.
You see that merchandise sale on AJ right now?
Doesn't matter.
Not if he still has a belt on Brock
AJ
Lesnar.
Styles closed out 2016 as the champ, opened up 2017 as a champ, and closed out 2017 as a champ. When the whole Jinder Mahal thing was finally hitting its run, Who did they go to? They went to AJ Styles. I think that AJ Styles is the exception for that, and I also believe well, it's tough to say because of the way he's been booked.
But if he was the exception to that, he'd be the champion on Raw, not SmackDown.
And
I don't necessarily disagree with that because they need a strong guy to carry SmackDown.
Here's the thing, though. Vince has his vision, and he very rarely will ever stray off of that vision. And he's always been the big guy lover. He loves big guys.
He loves big guys.
Yeah, and that's how he is.
He would get lost. And I think they do this to not disservice AJ Styles. Mm-hmm. But whether we like it or not, I'm actually coming around on it. Roman is the next guy. If he is on Raw, he would not be where he is. People look at him and hold him on par with guys like Lesnar. The fact that he was the guy they put the title on to be in that match against Lesnar and put on a hell of a show for one of Brock's best matches in a while, that shows me how much he really values him. So I don't think at all. I think he's absolutely the exception to what the old kind of view was. And I think Hunter's more in his ear now. Now, Vince gets the ultimate decisions, but I think that Hunter's fingerprints on are a lot more things than what people probably realize in a good way.
And
he's great with NXT.
I agree with all of that. And I would say that if the Raw champion was anyone other than Brock Lesnar, then AJ Nakamura could very well be the main event at WrestleMania. But as long as Brock Lesnar, with that crossover appeal, has a belt, unless The Undertaker is there, Brock Lesnar will be the main event. My opinion.
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be your main event at WrestleMania. John Cena and The Undertaker. It's more and more reported.
Well, here's the
freaking
I'm telling you now, I've been saying it for long before I was on A2D. I said it last year. I am locking it in. It is going to be John Cena and The Undertaker. This will be the final Undertaker match.
Is it necessary, though? It's really not.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. There is still people who want to see The Undertaker, whether it's good, whether it's bad. It's a carnival act at this point, but people still get excited to see it.
I want to see it too, but not at the expense of just seeing him get beat again at WrestleMania. It's no point.
But the streak doesn't matter. The record
that
and streak doesn't matter.
But it's
his best match that he had. Not best story, because the best story was WrestleMania 30. The last time he had a really great WrestleMania match was WrestleMania 29 against CM Punk. He hasn't been able to perform up to par since then. I think the expectations with him, he's been basically there as a name act for the last coming up on 5 years. There's only one match left to have, and if I don't want to say it 9,000%, but if they're going to do it, the one that I'm like, okay, I'm okay with it, it's Cena, but that has to be it. There's nothing to do after that.
Well, I would say that there's actually two matches left to have, but one of them physically is not possible because
of
thanks Seth.
Yeah.
Sting.
Yeah. And that's a shame too, because the one year they could have done it, they didn't do it. But they went with Sting versus Triple H.
Cena's a lot younger and can do a lot more.
There's two things on that. Number one, when you talk about main event, how you're locking it down that it's Cena versus Undertaker.
That closes
main
WrestleMania.
Event. Well, okay, I'm glad you worded it like that because you know how fuzzy they've made the whole main event thing. Now they're doing triple main event. If you want to say that it's going to close WrestleMania, I'm glad you worded it like that because I agree. To Todd's question, though, do we think that Nakamura and Styles is locked down?
Yes, I think it.
I don't think it's locked down by any means. I absolutely think that Roman and Brock is locked down because we've been hearing reports that Vince has been wanting to do it ever since since summer. So to me, if I know going into WrestleMania that Cena and The Undertaker are happening, if I know that it's Brock and Roman that's happening, I absolutely think that it's Nakamura and AJ because it's the three matches, it's kind of a perfect little combination. It is the fantasy match that people have been talking about for years. It is the company guy, Roman Reigns, finally getting the push over, the monster heel, which is Brock Lesnar. And then it's the fan favorite match, which is Styles and Nakamura.
Well, not only that, it's an opportunity for Vince to get his rocks off because, especially with everything going on now with WrestleKingdom and Jericho going over there, one of the best matches in the history of WrestleKingdom was Nakamura and AJ a few years ago. This is and that's on their biggest stage.
Yeah,
I think if Vince has an opportunity to put these guys out there and give them a chance, give them a chance to try to one-up that, absolutely Vince will get his rocks off on that.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, is that, again, Vince...
That's Vince's counter, and now let's bring NJP in.
I get that,
and
but
NJPW fans.
The thing is, though, is that Vince has always had a very odd relationship when it comes to smaller performers and Japanese performers. It's always been a very odd situation with them. Like, some have been booked properly, a lot of them not. And
you're saying Hakushi wasn't booked properly?
Oh, well, totally. He was totally given the perfect run.
Taka Michinoku?
Right. Yeah,
bless you.
Taka Michinoku, Funaki.
But choppy, yo pee-pee.
Yeah.
I want to ask you guys a question, though. So if we do, and if it is locked in where you're going to have Cena versus The Undertaker, is this finally it for The Undertaker?
Yes.
It has to be, because what else would there be to do?
So then are we just missing the obvious here where if it truly is the last for Undertaker, is he closing the show again?
Yes.
I mean, I think that would have to be the case.
We're not missing. That's what I said. That's going to be the match that closes the show.
There would be nobody else who could close the show. You can't really close the show.
But then is that the main event? I mean, it becomes a matter of semantics, but...
All right, let me ask you this then. So if it's closing the show, which I believe it would if that's happening, is he going to lose it again? Is he going to have back to? You believe he's going to lose?
Yes.
Okay,
and that's the other thing too.
I'm not
It's just
sure.
Like, what?
He should never be John. He shouldn't. At this point, he should not be John Cena at WrestleMania.
See, here's the weird part though. It's like he already lost to Roman. He did that whole it seems like the final salute goodbye with the end of everything. Why would you want to screw that up? But again, though, this is WWE. If it works, we're gonna fix it.
I
don't
get that, but I'm going to be honest with you. I think the plan all along was to have Cena this year. I don't think I mean, I was in the crowd and I thought, oh man, it really feels like that. But then after, it was even a few days after, I said, I'm not convinced that he's done still.
I understand what you're saying because, this apparently, backstage people say, every WrestleMania, Undertaker thinks it's it. And then as the next WrestleMania comes around, he's like, oh, okay, I'll do one more if the price is right, and all that stuff in the situation.
What if this is a... I don't want to use the word knockoff, but what if this is a nod, more or less, to call it the Three Faces of Foley, where last year at the end of the match he loses, and the top hat and the jacket and the gloves come off, and everything gets left in the ring.
Is he coming back as the American
Is he
Badass?
exactly? Is he coming back as the American Badass?
Interesting.
I'm not even joking. I made that joke earlier today with my buddies in a text message.
It's scary.
Where I said, let's not forget
alike.
that the Undertaker, the dead man, is retired. But I don't recall hearing Dead Man Inc. closing up shop.
Nope.
I would lose my freaking mind.
So does he come because it takes him 35 minutes to walk down the ramp? But maybe they give him the motorcycle.
Oh yeah, put the old man on the freaking motorcycle.
Exactly.
Yeah,
rider,
and then what?
brother.
It speeds up the entrance.
Okay, then what? The ending of WrestleMania is the old man that's just got beat up, just barely getting on the motorcycle.
Exactly.
No.
He barely gets on the motorcycle. Listen to this, though. Hold on.
Okay,
I just booked the end of this. Thank you, Ryan.
Oh, God.
So,
this is
no
terrible.
problem.
No.
This is a terrible ending.
Because here it is. So he loses again. He barely rolls out of the ring. He gets onto the motorcycle, and he's driving up the ramp, and the screen at the top of the ramp just goes to a big, huge picture of a setting sun. And all you see from behind is the silhouette of him riding off into the sunset on his motorcycle.
I don't see
I
it.
just booked it.
I don't
I
see
just
it.
booked the end of WrestleMania.
No, listen. And what do we have when he's riding his motorcycle? Does he? And this is what my buddy Nick said. Do we have 50-pound overweight Fred Durst riding in the sidecar singing and rolling down to the ring?
Listen,
Come on,
Mike,
man.
I'm not going to say that's lazy booking by you, but
It's creative, actually.
It's creative.
It's not good because I don't.
It's not good.
Not on your part. Not on your part.
That's funny. It's not
minute.
good.
If
I got two words for you.
Listen, if at 50 whatever years old, all of a sudden they decide to reprise the American Badass gimmick, something went really wrong in creative.
But
Actually,
honestly,
a lot of things go wrong in creative,
Brady-
but that's a different story.
I'd probably rather have the ending being him being buried alive for like the 80th time. Bring out the
that would
freaking
not make
Nexus.
me- that would
bring
not-
out the
yeah.
Nexus.
Bring out the Nexus,
Like they
oh
tried
Christ.
doing that like 10 years ago, whenever that was. I might prefer buried alive
Well, I don't think you could bring out the Nexus because wasn't.
because they already screwed that up.
Yeah,
that's right.
so-
Afraid I've got some bad news.
They already buried the guy who was supposed to be big on that. So.
I'm going to jump on Facebook.
Thanks,
we got
John Cena.
we got a lot of Facebook.
Thanks, Todd. I appreciate
Jim
it.
Velasco says, not sure if anyone mentioned it yet, but tickets for New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Style Evolved in Long Beach go on sale Monday, January 29th. So if you're in the Long Beach area, get some tickets.
Can they ever come to like?
Very rare to say it.
What is the date on that? Do we have any idea?
January 29th?
No. The
I
actual date of the show.
I saw it today, but I don't remember. I can look it up for you. I'll look it up on the break.
Can they come back to Philly? I know they did do a tour a few years back, and they did stop in Philly one time. I would like to see them come to Philly.
Was that actually a New Japan tour? Or was that
It was in conjunction.
That was with conjunction with
with
ROH.
ROH.
Okay.
But they did have them there. I mean, they had some pretty cool matches they had. I mean, Low Key was on the
no,
tour.
I would-
Devitt, you know.
I would love that.
Brian Natard says, it's totally the main event, no question. They've been building up to it for a year, keeping Brock away from Reigns all this time. Bill Casey says it could be Cena and AJ. I don't think so. I think that was the penciled in, but I think that's changed. It could be, though. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Any thoughts on All or Nothing event Cody and the Bucks are setting up in September? I hate the Young Bucks, so I don't follow them. I don't even know what that is.
I would love to know.
Love Cody. I hate the
By the way-
hate
Oh,
the Young Bucks.
I actually have been following this, and I think before people really, really lose their minds too much, they have to tell us, Maddie, and jump in on this.
Sure.
They have to tell us where it is. Because so far, all they've said is we're all in. It's September 1st, and it's the Bucks, Cody, Omega, and there was Marty Scurll.
Oh, yeah, the villain.
So
yeah.
there's
My buddy Velasco is pretty
so
decently
there's
in
five,
tune.
five of them who have basically committed to putting up their own money
Yeah.
to book this show.
Well, Jim Velasco, he was a contributor in the original podcast version of this, and he says here, and he's usually got his thumb on the pulse pretty well with what goes on, and he says, he said, I'm assuming that it's going to be either in Chicago or Ontario. That's where their invasion took place, which would make sense.
Okay.
I could see
Interesting.
that.
Okay, so
So we're going to visit the Great White North?
well, no, let's back up a second.
Oh, okay.
They want to put this thing over to high heaven and guarantee themselves a sellout. You book the Allstate Arena in Chicago on September 1st, and you go main event triple threat of Kenny Omega versus Cody versus CM Punk. And you make yourself $1 million.
That would. That absolutely would.
How much?
Not
do
a
they-
doubt.
I mean, it's their own money coming out of their pocket. Though. How much you got to pay Punk to come in and do that?
I think you're going to bet on yourselves that
mean,
the gate in his hometown.
I mean, it makes sense, but you got to remember he's had that taste of that UFC money now, and that's nothing they're going to.
But he
pay
wants to
him
get his
they
ass
can
kicked
close.
again?
Agreed, but here's the thing.
For the money he made for that, and he would probably make another fight. Absolutely, he's got at least one more fight before the money goes away.
He never said he wouldn't go back to professional wrestling. He just said he wouldn't go back to
But he
WWE.
said he doesn't like professional wrestling. He doesn't enjoy it anymore. So I mean, I believe the guy. I don't think he's ever coming back.
For now, but if you can sit down and talk to him, put feelers out, like I'm pretty sure you can rekindle that kind, because he's still a wrestling fan deep down inside. If you can rekindle that fire, you might be able to convince him to do a show or two, because it's not WWE. So it's not like you're going to get screwed over at the end of the day like he was almost constantly. In my opinion, if you sat him down, you say, hey, listen, we will pay you this amount of money. You come do the Allstate Arena with us, and we can do whatever we want to do. There is no Vince McMahon knocking us on the shoulders like, no, you guys can't do that. You can't do this. And by the way, this guy's got to go over tonight. Like, no, we can do what we want to do.
Oh, and the other thing is, let's not forget the biggest free agent in wrestling right now that we've been talking about.
Yeah.
John Cena.
It's John
Cena.
It's John Cena.
But if you book Jericho on that show in some capacity, maybe you don't need CM Punk if you somehow can book Jericho.
Well, Punk would put it through the roof, though.
Right,
he absolutely
but
would.
if you book Jericho Omega 2, hey, who knows?
Velasco did real quick. I know you're going to jump in, but he said Strong Style Evolved is Sunday, March 25th. He also says NJPW stars are always on the East Coast for ROH shows, which is true.
This is true.
And he says they'll be announcing more info on All In the coming weeks on Being the Elite.
Okay.
So follow Being the Elite.
So
You'll see
March
more coming.
25th. So they're actually about a month ahead of when I could potentially be in California.
There you go.
Damn it.
By the way, though, one thing I want to say, could you think Evolve Strong Style? Like, I know they're going to do it with themselves. They're going to put their own money out there and everything. Wouldn't that be like, you know how the NWO did, like, their whole, like, oh, we have our own promotion thing and we're going to dominate, although it was handled differently? You think that's kind of what because they're all Bullet Club members, which... Don't you think it's like, it's our way of saying, hey, we're just going to say, screw you, NJPW. This is our thing, like you want to come over and take us
kind of like
over,
the old
come try
sold out
it.
pay-per-view.
Like they could kind of do something like that just because
hopefully
that's
a much better version of it.
Yes. But that's what the Bullet Club is, since they're basically the NWO of this era. You could easily just say, hey, we're just going to even do our own thing,
But
basically.
see, that's the thing, though, is I don't think the show, and I'm sorry, Ryan, I didn't mean to step on
No,
you.
don't. No, seriously.
I don't think the show, in terms of All In, is meant to progress any sort of storylines or angles or be a shot at any promotion other than WWE. I just think it's a bunch of guys that want to show that they could conceivably, with their own money and their own minds, put together a show that makes $1 million. And
Makes sense.
I mean, and I think it's just a big FU to Vince.
The one point I wanted to make on your statement, Mike, about CM Punk and the UFC money and that whole thing, if I were him, and obviously he's much more involved in it than I am, I wouldn't be counting on that UFC money anytime soon, because Dana has said numerous times he's not getting back in a UFC ring anytime soon. He's going to have to go through the phases like every normal, everyday MMA fighter goes through. It could be freaking years, even at the luckiest. I understand he's a huge star.
His purse in a second fight will still be a ton of money.
You're right, it would.
A lot more than he'll make in
But
a
how long is it gonna- how
one-off
long
with
is
the
it gonna
Bullet.
take
That's
to
my
get
point.
there,
I'm
though?
not saying it
here's
won't
the
be a
thing-
lot of money. It might not ever happen
No,
again.
you're right, but then you got to think too. I mean, if he's serious about this MMA thing and Dana's going to give him a chance and he has to earn his way, is Dana going to be okay with him saying, "Oh, I'm gonna go do wrestling now"? No, maybe Dana wants him to say, "This is your focus. This is what you're doing now. Show me that this is what you want." I could see that being more of a thing. I don't think Dana would let him. If he wants to get in an MMA ring again with UFC, I don't think Dana would let him do it.
And you could be
It's
absolutely
not worth
right.
the risk.
Oh, I get it. I just personally, as a guy who has no idea, I've never met Dana White. To me, with all the things going around in the UFC, I don't think he could care less about CM Punk right now.
All I'm going to say about the whole thing is everybody has seen the video, and if you haven't, go to YouTube and just do a search on the video is called CM Punk Hometown Reaction.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone has seen the video of, and it's not even Cult of Personality. It's his old original theme song in WWE. But everyone has seen it when, Cena comes out, his music hits, Cena comes down to the ring, place is going nuts, booing the hell out of him, signs everywhere. If Cena wins, we riot. And then all of a sudden it's dead silent. Oh. And then Punk's music hits, and the whole place goes bonkers.
I know what pay-per-view that is, too. Yeah,
right. So
yeah.
now take that same arena, and even if they just did it even if it was just him showing up as a special attraction, as a ringside enforcer or a special referee or
that's
something.
what I was thinking, yeah.
Just if they don't announce him, and all of a sudden, right before the main event, you hear Cult of Personality kick in.
Oh, God.
Roof gets blown off.
Oh, yeah. And the best part is, too, is like if you actually think about it, you set him up as a special enforcer, maybe it's a little gimmicky, maybe a little hokey, something screwy happens where he does something to either Kenny Omega or most likely Omega because he wants to beat Omega. He's like, I was the best in the world. Now everybody's saying you're the best in the world.
Yeah.
That's bullshit, and I'm going to prove it.
So I think this is a good time to take a break. Is there anything on YouTube we want to get to first? I'm pretty ran down on Facebook.
You're caught up. All right, so Todd talked about the blade job, talked about Brock versus Roman, talked about AJ versus Nakamura. Gordon Bates chiming in. What's up, Gordon?
What up, Gordon?
NJPW lets the wrestlers go out and tell a great story, no question about it.
They do.
Todd, talking to you, says you're definitely right, but Cena has to put over The Undertaker. David Rosca says he's currently...
I totally disagree. There's nothing the Undertaker gains at this point.
Always go out on your sword.
You go on your back. That's
old
everybody.
traditional,
Whether
old
you're an
school,
indie, a
old
WWE guy,
school.
everybody knows that you go out on your back.
And Undertaker's old school. That's how he would go out.
David Rosca says he's currently watching Royal Rumble 2016. I guess he had to get a little bit of that Philly flavor back in there.
I was there. It was a hell of a crowd to be a part of.
Todd said, could it be a triple threat of Brock versus Roman versus Strowman? It could. Although I think if they're going to do
but I don't want to see that.
Right, but if they're doing a triple threat main event at Royal Rumble of Brock versus Strowman versus King.
Well, essentially every main event that Brock had this entire run would then be a triple threat or a quadruple threat or whatever.
With the exception of the
four-way
Strowman Joe matches, and that was it.
If they had any plan, in my opinion, if they had any plans of putting Strowman anywhere near Lesnar at WrestleMania, Braun Strowman at the moment would be nowhere close to Lesnar, not even close to him.
I actually agree with that a lot. And then Todd also chimed in. He says, "LOL, nice, Mike." I'm assuming that's for the Omega Cody CM Punk triple threat.
There you go.
I think we're caught up on YouTube.
Yeah, we are. And then and also here, last couple ones. Gordon Bates says Punk versus Omega versus Cody would be incredible. Brian It's Hard, Money in the Bank 2011.
There we go.
Jim Velasco says doubtful Cody and the Bucks would be able to pay the rights for the rights of Cult of Personality if the event is televised. That's a very fair point.
Very fair point.
Michael Jenkins says if they could, I think they could. And then Arthur Shemko says Meltzer said ROH wouldn't draw 10,000, so Cody and the Bucks decided to run this show. So great points, guys. We intended to talk about this for like 15 minutes, and it took the whole first hour. So we're going to take a break. About 5 to 10 minutes to use the restroom because I got to pee. Sorry, guys. I'm telling you that.
I think that's understandable.
And then we're going to come back, guys. Sealed envelopes for the awards.
Oh, boy.
Ryan, give us the readout. Or Ryan. Maddie.
I look a lot like Ryan. We could be twins.
I don't even have to read.
You guys are handsome.
Yeah, absolutely. But lazy booking here on a2dradio.com, brought to you by the Sports Outlet. For all your sporting needs, they're located at 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-939-2030. You can email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them at www.sportsoutletinc.com.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
Hey, do you need to get your skills in shape? Then contact the Scanzano Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com. John Scanzano offers individual, semi-private, and team training lessons in hitting, pitching, catching, outfield, along with turf rentals. The Scanzano Sports Center is equipped with a 31,000 square foot indoor facility, 4 batting cages, and a 4,000 square foot strengthening and conditioning room. So what are you waiting for? Contact the Scanzano Sports Center today.
A2DRadio.com is sponsored by The Sports Outlet for all your sporting needs. Located 703 Black Horse Pike in Glendora, New Jersey. Give them a call at 856-939-2030 or email them at sportsoutletnj@comcast.net or visit them on the web at www.sportsoutletinc.com for all your sporting needs. The Sports Outlet.
A2DRadio.com is proudly sponsored by Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants. Gibson Mayer, located in Yardley, PA, is a leading accounting and business consulting firm with a proven track record of handling critical issues with expertise across many different industries, including construction, distribution, hospitality, manufacturing, real estate, service trades, merchandising, professional services, and professional athletes. Give them a call at 215-369-3300. That's 215-369-3300. Your initial consultation is always free, and if you tell them that Tom and Mike from AM and the PM sent you, you'll receive 15% off all income tax services completed by February 15th. That's Gibson Mayer LLC Certified Public Accountants, 215-369-3300, or visit them on the web at www.gibsonmayer.com. That's gibsonmayer.com.
Hi, folks. Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
Everybody, I'm Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, and everybody's got a price for lazy booking. Hey, this is your Olympic hero, Kurt Angle, and you're listening to Lazy Booking. Go, it's true. It's damn true. Ho! Hey, folks, I'm WWE Hall of Famer Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and if you want to know what's going on in wrestling, check out Lazy Bookings. Ho!
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Lazy Booking here on A2DRadio.com, the special Lazies Award Show right here, right now, here on A2DRadio.com with me, Matt Sensudi, Mike Mataraki, and the Chrome himself, Mike Chromiak, and we got Ryan Brodo behind the boards. And the Lazies being brought to you by Scanzano's Sports Center, located at 5 Carnegie Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. You can give them a call at 856-889-3434 or visit them on the web at www.scanzanosports.com.
I was going to say slide the phone back a little bit. It's coming.
It's
I know
okay.
it's coming.
I'm waiting for him to hit the phone and hurt his hand so I can laugh at him, and then I'm just going to want a short right.
Absolutely. Guys.
Well, now that you told me your plan.
Well, it's predetermined.
Oh, well, that's true.
Not
that's
fake.
That's
It's
true.
predetermined.
But you see, since you're going to hit me with the right, then I got to hit you with, the form. And
Oh,
that's-
yeah. It's
Count,
okay.
we're going to start seeing
Back
counters
body
and
drop
DDTs.
through the wall.
Yeah, the usual.
All right.
Guys, here we are. This was the whole direction of the show to begin with. This is our special year-end show. Second annual for Lazy Booking, first annual here on A2D. So, let's go through how this whole process kind of went down. As I had explained previously, we put up a poll on Twitter. We also gave people the opportunity on Facebook to vote for who they wanted to win. We also put together a panel of the new Lazy Booking staff.
Experts, if you will.
Experts. And we also
If you will.
we also went back to the legacy Lazy Booking staff and contributors and asked for them. And that was a panel of 9 people.
Would that be one Mr. Billy Thrasher?
Billy Thrasher would
from
be
Calgary,
one. Alberta.
Alberta, Canada.
Originally from Toronto.
Toronto.
But yeah, we and it is. So the list goes. The legacy people were Billy Thrasher, Jim Velasco.
Is Thrasher his real last name?
It is his real. It's a cool last name,
Dude,
right? I know.
that's awesome.
It's awesome.
That's why it
Such
was
a cool
great.
last
That was our
name.
thing. It was Thrasher and Chrome.
Oh,
That's a
nice.
pretty badass sound, right?
That sounds like a tag team. Right
It does. But it was Billy Thrasher, Jim Velasco, Alicia Hope Ross, Chris Pappas, Nick Staskin, and Nate Longstreet. We call him the Long Saint.
Nice.
Those were our legacy guys, and then obviously we had Ryan, we had Matt over here, we had Mike, and then myself. So we all chimed in, and I collected those, and then the way it worked was the winners on Twitter were 2 votes. The
I was
winners
gonna
on
say, I think
Facebook were
it's
2 votes.
Very important for the audience to know that their votes were weighted more heavily than ours. So, yeah.
And I can say, and actually it worked out having them each their own entity because it definitely swayed the way things went. The reason being 2 votes too. Let's just say, which happened twice, if 2 people tied from what the fans voted or the viewers voted, they each got a point. So that break ended up deciding one of the winners.
That, and we care about the fans here.
We absolutely.
We bring
Hey,
the fans
listen.
into the show. We give what the fans want. We're not WWE.
Yeah, no, listen, your voice is what runs this show.
For the fan, by the fan.
For the fan,
For
by
the fan, by the fan. So we're going to go through.
You're welcome, Tom.
The way I wanted to start it off, there was a few that we we didn't put out there because they were kind of no-brainers. So there was kind of 3 awards that we wanted to hand out. And I'm going to just kind of list those real quick.
These are the ones that we give out during commercials that you don't see on the live broadcast.
Yeah. Or when we're running the commercial here and we have the little thing up here like they do on
See,
SmackDown.
We're just working on the scroll right now.
So they are.
So those 3 categories, the first one was best non-wrestling segment. And I think after discussion, we decided on the Festival of Friendship.
Yeah, it's kind of,
Yeah.
kind of a no-brainer.
Absolutely.
You look at the entertainment of that. You look at the build-up that went into, that relationship between those guys, and kind of just the way. I mean, the moment where he picks up, oh, it's a new list, and he picks it up, and he's like, how come my name's on the list? And you see the list of KO. It was brilliantly done. One of the better segments that they've done over the course of probably the best one, in my opinion, over the course of the year.
It was a heartbreaking moment to see the best friends split up.
But it was so it was like bittersweet. I definitely think they needed to do something different. But I think we all agreed, there really was no second to that.
And two, the thing I think was so beautiful about that, to where we all knew it was eventually coming, but when it actually came and it happened,
You're like, whoa!
it was still surprising.
Yes.
I know.
Which is rare nowadays.
The
Yes.
moment that you hear Chris say that, you're like, no, not now. I wasn't ready. No.
No. I thought I was ready for this, and then it came, and I'm like, no, I wasn't ready for this.
I told myself I wouldn't cry.
But I think that we agreed that was a no-brainer there. The second we went with was Breakout Star. I think it's easy to say Braun Strowman this year as far as where he was in 2016 to 2017. And as a newer guy who's just getting into the main event scene, hands down, probably the number one breakout star. I mean, the only person who could possibly rival it. See, Omega and Cody are guys who had huge years, but they had huge years last year.
Right.
We're talking about a
Yeah.
guy that really, came from here to here very quickly. And a lot of times with those kind of guys, the fan base doesn't get behind them. And it was just so beautifully done with Braun over the year building him.
Has nothing to do with that. But Cody, did he look weird when he dyed his hair blonde? Or
He looks like Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, I thought that was a little
weird.
strange looking.
a little
like,
weird.
Why
Yeah.
did he dye his hair?
Yeah, it's like a weird Dolph Ziggler ripoff.
Well,
with short hair.
But you understand why he did it, though.
Yeah,
Because he went back and he got Dusty's fur coat from
Yeah.
from
Yeah, it was
DDP.
cool. It was cool.
And he did the he
Yeah.
did the fur with the blonde, and it was an ode to Dusty. So.
Yeah, true.
And then the third award that we gave out was Bounce Back Superstar, who I think is a guy who maybe at one point was at the top of the hill or near the top of the hill, took that dive down where it was borderline or was jobber status, and then took it upon himself with the way he developed his character to kind of shoot back up. And that was The Miz. And in second thought, the Festival of Friendship is definitely one. Two, and it was so organic, was The Miz's promo on Talking Smack. That was what he was getting there with his character. That's what put him next level, and he's there. I mean, the dude is a heel. For years, the whole thing was he's actually a really good heel. He gets booed, and people actually hate him. But now they love him. They're chanting for him. Thank you, Miz. But they still boo him. He's doing a great job. And I think that it's very evident, which is why I talked about earlier with Roman. It's very evident to me that he's primed for that next push.
Well, I think one of the things that's interesting about The Miz is, and we all in this room, we all know what happens when you're a heel and you get cheered and you get cheered and you get cheered and you get cheered. Organically, you become a babyface. I actually think Miz could be along the lines of a Kevin Owens, and maybe even more so, the heel who gets cheered and gets cheered and gets cheered and gets cheered, and they never turn him babyface.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And guys are already chiming in here. Sean Spellman, great show.
Thanks,
Thank
Sean.
you, sir. And he also says AJ Styles is the best thing to happen to WWE since Seth Rollins. Frank Vespi, will the Lazies feature a musical number? I want Vinnie Mac singing Stand Back or Jimmy Hart singing Girls in Cars. Mike, get the pipes ready, buddy. I know we were saving this for later, but...
Ladies and gentlemen, with a live performance of Stand Back.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Because
What they don't know is Tom's going to walk through here, and he's
if-
going to start doing
if
Stand
I
Back.
have to
Oh,
get-
he's going to dance like Vince,
If
too.
I have to get the pipes ready, I'm picking the song.
Wait, Brian Attard says, how surprised is anyone that the best non-wrestling segment in WWE featured Chris Jericho?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
no,
I mean,
but-
absolutely.
But not only that, too, if we are going to bring Stand Back, and you got to do it like Chris Benoit did back in the day in 2001,
God.
just stand back.
Yeah.
And just did
Oh, who? Vacant? Are you talking about Vacant?
Vacant?
We don't know that
Oh,
name.
yeah, I forgot. He don't exist no more. That's right.
Daniel Bakley says, I hope WWE does go through with the Dolph Ziggler versus Bobby Roode ladder match at Mania to thank Ziggler for the unselfishness that he has been in his career since he most likely will go to the Indies soon. I'll talk about that on another week
let's get
because
into that.
I have a very
Oh, boy.
strong opinion on Dolph Ziggler, and I don't want to take away from the Lazies tonight. But Daniel, do me a favor. Next week we got Nick on. So in the coming weeks,
We'll get it
yeah,
in.
we could jump it in.
Is it
but in the next coming weeks, when we get closer to Mania, let's talk that. 'Cause
Why don't we see
I have
what
my
happens
opinion.
with
Yeah.
Dolph in the Rumble,
Yeah.
and then we'll revisit
Let's
this.
see how that goes. Bring it back, and I will definitely. And I'm more than happy to talk about my opinion.
This sounds
of
like
Dolph
an
Ziggler.
essay question right here.
And I'm perfectly fine with it. I actually think it's a great topic.
Yeah. And the other thing I wanted to throw in here, and I don't know if I'll do it now or maybe do it later. I decided this year to have a Lazy's Hall of Fame.
Ah, okay.
All right.
Guys who are deserving. We don't need 900 guys in. We don't need to put the Coco Bewares in. But let's have a Lazy's Hall of Fame, okay? So with that, for this is the first. We didn't do this last year.
So do you have any inductees at all into the Lazy's Hall of Fame?
This is the
Or
first.
this is the first?
This is the first.
Tito.
Yes, it's not Tito. Fuck Tito. Yeah. The first is, and I had to do it. Andre the Giant.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Andre the Giant. I know he was WWE's first. He should be our first. Is Andre the Second, I'm doing it for myself, damn you. Sing or something.
You said
The
you were
Nature
doing-
Boy, Ric Flair.
You said you were doing one.
The Nature Boy. No, we did 3. Nature Boy, Ric Flair, and the third is Stone Cold Steve Austin. Those are guys that I feel
Well, you're
like.
goddamn right.
I feel like they're guys that represent different eras and totally different types of careers that were massively changing in the industry.
Listen,
and I felt like
son,
they were deserving of the
You
first
ta-
3.
you take your Lazy's Hall of Fame ring and you shove it up your ass. Just give me some goddamn beer and I'll stop a mud hole in you and walk it dry.
If I could get Austin on this show, that'd be great.
That would be great.
I'll never happen, but I'm gonna make an award, and if I ever get to meet him again, I'm definitely gonna hold it up and say, "You want a Lazy? Can you? Or you're in the Hall of Fame? Can you hold this for me?" All right, guys. First award we are giving out, and the way I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna read popular votes by Twitter and Facebook and by panel, and then I'm gonna read the overall winner.
Can you find like a? Yeah, legitimately like a
oh dear.
like a wave file of like a drum roll.
Oh, dear.
I can try. I can definitely get some kind of bed as well.
Nah, don't worry about it. I mean, if it's like a pain in the ass, I wouldn't worry about it. But
Don't worry about it. We
all right.
got
So
it.
what's the first category?
So the first category we are reading, and I've already broken the seal, the first one. They are all sealed. I'm the only one that knows the winners. Commentator of the Year. So with Commentator of the Year, and I do have to pull out all the nominees. Well, we know who they were. It was Mauro Ranallo.
Was it really?
Mauro, as not the winner.
Okay.
These are the nominees.
Okay, I
Mauro
thought you were announcing the winner. I'm like, whoa.
No, it was Mauro
I was gonna
Ranallo.
say.
It was Corey Graves. It was Booker T.
Mauro Ranallo, Mamma Mia.
I
And
could
actually
not
don't even
stand
remember
that,
who
to
the
be
third
honest with
one-
you.
I don't even remember
Wasn't
who
it
the third
Cole?
one was. Michael Cole. Yeah, I couldn't even remember
Maggle?
who the third one was. Or fourth one. All right. So, by popular votes, the panel selected Corey Graves at 89% of the vote.
Yep.
Yeah.
Twitter selected Corey Graves at 67%.
Wow, that's a lot closer.
And Facebook took Corey Graves at 75%.
Wow.
So Corey Graves actually won this award on the Lazies last year. He is now a 2-time winner. Corey Graves is the winner of Commentator of the Year.
Who else gives you a chuckle every once in a blue
I
moon?
love
'Cause
Corey
he'll come up
Graves.
with something hilarious. You're like, that's funny.
I love Corey
Shut up,
Graves.
Byron.
Listen, you want to watch great television? Watch and Ride Along can be a kind of a hokey show.
Mm-hmm.
Watch the one with Tom Phillips and with Nia Jax. You talk
And
about
Corey
Byron.
Graves,
If you
yeah.
saw that one,
I did see that.
Oh
one.
my
It
God!
was great.
When Byron Saxton calls Nia, money. I'm telling you, that's all I got to tell you. It's a great one.
that just going back to the whole Corey Graves winner for a second.
Yes.
Though, if you guys think back to the
This was one of the more lopsided ones, by the way.
think back to the NXT Takeover. I think it was NXT Takeover Arrival, maybe going way back.
Oh, so the
You're
first
talking about when he made the
NXT
announcement?
takeover.
When
Okay.
he showed up on the pre-show and he made the
I
announcement.
think it was the second one.
All right, second one, okay. But he shows up on the pre-show and he makes the announcement that he is no longer permitted to wrestle, but he's joining the broadcast team. And he's got tears in his eyes as he's making the announcement that he can't wrestle. His voice is cracking. Renee Young looks like she's ready to cry. Lita looks like she's ready to cry. But from that moment to now, the growth in Corey Graves as a commentator,
Astounding.
You would never know that this is a guy who used to be in the ring, Sterling James Keenan, we've all seen him wrestle in the Northeast Indie scene for, years, but, you'd never know that this was a guy who had ever even set foot in the ring. You just think he was born to be a commentator.
Some guys just have it. He's got the voice for it. He's got the creativity. If anything, I can believe that he was in the ring because I just feel like he just has it. He has that knowledge, and he has the creativity of whether it's in the ring or around the or behind, with promos and different things. The guy just knows how to articulate the scenario or the situation. He's amazing.
He's the best commentator. Like he's the reason why you really listen to the commentating team at all, really.
Oh, we got Brodo over here. What's he got?
No. I found the drum roll.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'm not going to throw my opinion out. Just saying.
No. If there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, beautiful.
Gordon Bates also chimes in. Good show, guys. I like Graves and Phillips. That ride along was. This is Daniel Bakley. I like Graves and Phillips. That ride along was hilarious with her calling Saxon. Amazing. I'm telling you, it's one of the funniest things I've seen in a while. And he also says Graves is a workhorse and loves the business and is glad he has the Straight to the Source show on the network. I agree with that. I like that. I missed the I don't know why they took the JBL thing off because I liked that. But I like that they're doing it now with Corey Graves.
I think they're
Graves
actually just trying to cut as many ties from JBL as they can.
Could be. We'll see.
I know they're bringing him back for the 25th anniversary of Raw, but I'd be very surprised.
And he did tribute to the troops.
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if you see him do anything other than tribute to the troops and anniversary shows.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. We're going to get to the next category, which would be Tag Team of the Year. The nominees are the Usos.
Ooh, so.
That day one-ish.
Day one-ish.
New Day.
Day one is H.
Is
Never heard that one before.
A little Breezango for you.
Yeah, it was so great. What is day one is H? The Bar and the Young Bucks. So there is a non-WWE nominee.
Don't just set the bar.
So
hold it until
we are the bar.
We are the bar.
We are the bar.
Now, hold on. Mike, let me ask you a question. Even if they had a phenomenal year, would you ever vote for the Young Bucks for a lazy?
No.
No? It's that much of a hatred. Okay.
I'm the Hall of Fame voter that says nobody ever deserves 100% when the Young Bucks are involved. All right. So what we have, the panel selection was, well, actually, you can run it. That's fine.
Oh, that's spectacular.
We'll do the winner. The winner was the Usos.
Ooh.
So with that day one-ish. The way it went down, the panel took the Usos at 78%. Twitter's selection was the Usos at 85%. Facebook at 56%. Surprisingly, Facebook was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. The New Day had some votes in there. Each one had like a Young Bucks vote in there. So there are definitely people who are very open. And the Bar got a vote in there too.
Well, and you talked earlier about the breakout star of the year. I would say that even though they had been tag team champions multiple times, if there was a breakout tag team of the year, that they would have gotten tag team of the year and breakout tag team of the year. I mean, they went to a different level in 2017.
They did. I'm not. I'm on the record a ton of times talking about how the Usos act just got so stale and old. And even when they first did the turn, I wasn't buying it because I felt like it was 6 months to 8 months way overdue. But little by little. And that feud against the New Day, that's what sucked me in.
The top. Yeah.
That brought me right back into it, and I was totally buying into it. And they've been phenomenal since then.
In modern times, too, you have some tag team rivalries that will go down in history. In this modern era of WWE, that tag team rivalry goes down in history because that's the only team that the New Day, as a consistent rival, has always been able to stay fresh and been able to put themselves to a new level every single time.
And they were able to work as when the New Day was the heels and the Usos were the faces, and it was like a totally different program and phenomenal then. Now you revisit it put the shoe on the other foot. They revisit it. Again, phenomenal. Then it's the mutual respect. And it's the same, but has a different feel. And I love it. I love the dynamic with that.
I think the Hell in the Cell match is what just took that whole thing to ridiculous levels.
Well, and what they showed was, all right, I think that was a pre-show match. Am I right about that? Or an opening match?
It was the opener. Because the Hell in the Cell pay-per-view, they opened with the Hell in the Cell and they closed with the Hell in the Cell.
But that was one of those where it went under the radar and they said, well, we're going to steal the show. Mm-hmm. We're going to set the tone for this show. And it was the best match of the night, hands down. One of the best matches of the year. And, people know it's one of our nominees for match of the year. So we will definitely revisit that match as we get to that. The next one, we're going to do mark out moment of the year.
Oh, here we go. The fun one.
This one is a fun one. This one was very tight for a couple. Each different group was very different in the way that they looked at it.
Really? That's interesting. Now I'm intrigued.
Well, the supplemental votes were pretty. There's one that got one vote on all of the platforms. Period. The other ones got different votes, and you can. But there was two that were very close. So, with this one, we had mark out moment of the year. We had the Shield in their reunion. Mm-hmm. We had Adam Cole,
baby,
Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish making their debut at NXT Brooklyn. Which I was there for that.
You and I were both there for that.
And we did post a video of that, which was awesome. We had Jericho challenging Omega, something people never saw coming. And then we had the Hardys return at WrestleMania 33. Again, it was just one of those crazy things. And I actually have a video of it. Unfortunately, I was having an issue with getting it to Tom, so we didn't post it.
But we will.
But I was in the crowd for that. It's a cool video. So, drum roll, please. And your lazy goes to the Hardys return at WrestleMania 33.
Wow.
The Hardys return at WrestleMania 33.
There we go. Nice.
So,
and I so voted for that too.
I'm shocked.
Are you really?
I am.
So this was
You're not?
No. I mean, I voted for. I'm happy, but who did you expect?
I know he expected Jericho.
I absolutely expected Jericho. Yeah.
So on the panel, they were tied for number one. Jericho and Omega and the Hardys. I was in the crowd for the Hardys. I was in the crowd for Adam Cole. I could tell you right now, what swayed me I was Jericho Omega, but what swayed me, and again, the story behind it was I omitted this, and I kind of was just looking at the way it panned out after. But then if you look at how that moment was, I was in that crowd, and I will tell you right now, I have never, ever, ever on TV or been in a crowd that I've heard a reaction, a pop, grown men hugging each other, jumping around. I've never seen anything like that. And to me, as awesome as the Jericho Omega thing was, the moment of that was when the match actually took place.
Okay.
For this was an amazing moment that, I mean, people came unglued. If there was a roof on that whatever they call it, Camping World Stadium,
yep,
it wouldn't be there now. It would have been gone.
What I loved about it, too, was that I loved how they built it up, even though it was kind of hinted at and rumored at. But then even the New Day, they came out and they said there's going to be another team, and they slowly took off their stuff. They were like, okay, so New Day's going to join it. And then the Hardy Boys theme hit. I lost it. I lost it. Frank Vespi can quote you. He was an eyewitness to it. I completely marked out.
It was crazy. I mean, I'm telling you, grown men hugging, grown men crying, which I thought was a little weird. But
it's a little over the top.
Hey, listen.
That's why it's called a mark-out moment.
Yeah. Yep. But Twitter had the Hardys at 69%. But Facebook had the Hardys at 50%. Now, they had 50%. The Jericho Omega was very close. I don't remember the exact percentage, but I think there was only one other thing that got a vote. That was the deciding. Yeah, so that's your winner. And I'm not really surprised. And once I really thought about it,
I don't hate it. It just it surprised me a little bit.
Yeah. Well,
I think maybe
we get some surprises here.
I think maybe it's a little bit of a recency bias too, because that happened in late March, early April, whereas the whole Jericho Omega thing happened over a 6-week span towards the end of the year. So I thought some recency bias may have come into play, but it's fine.
Well, it shows how big of a moment it truly was
true,
to win
yeah.
this award, being almost a full calendar year, away now.
And not even just that, with how it played out after the fact, Jeff getting hurt. Matt was, now you have the broken gimmick back, but the way it kind of played out, it's interesting. And I felt like it was going to be close. I wasn't that surprised. And it looked for a minute there, it looked like Jericho Omega was going to win. So the next award we're going to do is Feud of the Year.
Okay.
So with Feud of the Year, and I should know all these off the top, but I've looked at them 900 times, but I don't. I don't. I'm sorry, guys. It's been a long week.
It was going to be on the test.
You've got paralysis by analysis when it comes to the nominees.
Oh, my God. I like outlined everything perfectly, too. All right. The nominees were Jericho Omega. I know the match didn't take place in 2017, but the feud and the way it was built was all through the month of December.
Well,
and part of November.
Right, and if you include the social media,
it was all year.
It was all year, yeah.
Braun and Roman, AJ and Kevin Owens, and Jericho and Owens.
Interesting that Jericho holds 2 of the nominations.
You think I'm like the biggest Jericho mark? Where we are, and I love Jericho,
I just think it speaks volumes to what he's doing.
It's the
right
year.
now.
I know. I totally. And for a guy who's half the time he's out playing frontman in a rock band.
I give you all the year of Jericho.
Oh,
drink it in, man.
That's funny.
All right, so your winner of Feud of the Year, the Lazy, goes to Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
Wow,
really?
Braun Strowman and Roman
Wow.
Reigns.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
And I have to
that one I
say,
wasn't expecting.
I agreed with that one too.
Me too.
I don't even know if I voted for that one. I don't remember which one I voted for, but I agree with it. I think that the way that let's powwow on this. Let me read off the way the votes went first. This was another tie with the panel at 44% each, Braun and Roman and Jericho and Owens. Twitter selection was Braun and Roman at 56%, and Facebook had it at 57%. So they were pretty close in that. I looked at it as, A, this was huge for Braun Strowman. Mm-hmm. B, it was a program that people were very invested in with Roman Reigns. And I mean, as hokey as some of the things were, it was entertaining hokey, like, I'm not finished with you yet, over and over. They did creative things. And every time for 2 big guys who get in the ring, you expect to see kind of the same clumping around. They were in the ring, and it was a different match every time they were in the ring. It was phenomenal.
I'll tell you the reason why I was so adamant about voting for this. It's because at the beginning of this, I was so turned off by it. The idea of it, I was so annoyed, and instantly they turned me. It was like one week I hated it. The next week, I was so invested, and that's hard to do. That's extremely hard to do.
Yeah.
I guess I'm in the minority. I actually was never really all that invested in the Roman Braun story. I was more invested in Owens and Jericho, but that was just me.
For me personally, I did not like the Roman Braun storyline when Braun flipped the ambulance over.
Okay.
I thought that kind of
That was what I was hokey.
right. It was hokey, and they kind of jumped the shark with it. But when they came back with how does Roman get his revenge, and Roman's revenge is basically
Attempted murder.
well, but here's the thing. Roman's revenge to me was a lot more realistic, and it was kind of a nod to the Attitude Era with, I did it for The Rock. I mean, it's Rikishi. It's his uncle, and it's, you get the things taking place in the garage, but then Braun stumbling away from that and don't touch me, don't help me, whatever, and then it just kind of it came back around from there to the point where I don't hate this.
Yeah.
It started out with a storyline that I hated, and they brought me back.
Yeah. I mean, I thought it was a phenomenal feud. And listen, Jericho and Owens, good and bad, was awesome. I mean, all those nominees were good. AJ and Owens had really good matches, really good feud for SmackDown. A lot of deserving nominees there, but I personally feel like the winner won.
Well,
I'm gonna hit
but
Facebook real quick.
What's the better team/feud name? Y2AJ or Jericho?
Oh God, Y2AJ.
It's got to be Y2AJ.
The name, not the feud, but the name. Daniel Bakley says, I knew the Hardys were coming when the match they were booked for that weekend was scratched, and I still freaked out. I did too. I said it while I was down there, and I still marked out like I had no idea it was coming. It was awesome.
Wait, hold on. Was their match scratched? Because I thought they wrestled a match.
No,
before.
but it was reported. He might have had that part wrong, but it was reported that their contract only was up until that night before.
It was.
Oh, okay.
And they were ROH
Right.
tag champs. They dropped the
And they
belts
dropped the
the
belts.
night before WrestleMania.
Right.
Wait, hold on. Was it the night before? Because
It was the Saturday before.
I thought that.
Oh, it was a Saturday
I thought
before.
they.
No. The Saturday night before
See, I thought-
Sunday.
I thought you meant by week. Sorry.
I thought they dropped the belts on Friday night, and I thought they did their own. They put on like their own show.
No, they
on
were
Saturday.
No, they were going to do a.
Or did they do
They
a
were
show
going
in
to
the
do.
parking
They were
lot
going
or
to do.
something?
They were going to do a tailgate,
A tailgate. Okay.
which I think they might have done. I don't know, but Bakley also says Reigns and Braun, and Jeremy Bellin says if you smell what The Rock is cooking, what up, fellas?
What's up, Jeremy?
Braun picking up Brock Lesnar and literally destroying him, throwing him through tables was awesome too.
Okay.
I agree with that. It was a sweet moment. That was at SummerSlam. I was there for that too.
Okay, that one I will say I liked that match. That match was fun.
This is one of my favorites, guys. I love this. Twitter King of the Year. Everybody loves a good tweet, and there are some really good tweeters in WWE.
Oh yeah.
For some, it's the greatest gift that they've ever gotten.
Oh, so good. So the nominees for this were Finn Balor, Chris Jericho, again,
What
the
a
year of
shocker.
Jericho, Kevin Owens, and Rusev.
Now here's my thing.
Rusev Day.
You could just give me the winner, and I'm not going to disagree with any of them.
I know.
I just think
That's the thing.
They're all phenomenal.
It was so good.
Rusev Day.
This one was
Rusev Day.
extremely close, and I can tell you that the fan votes were the ones that swayed this one.
Drum roll, Mr. Brodo.
The winner of Tweeter of the Year, Twitter King, is Rusev Day. Machka.
I love it. I don't think you even need any explanation on that one.
This was an award that was won last year by Kevin Owens.
Right.
So now this
Okay.
is Rusev's first lazy. So congratulations, Rusev.
There we go.
The way this went, the panel took Rusev.
Okay.
The Facebook took Kevin Owens at 50%. Our panel was at 56.
Which is interesting. Go ahead.
The tie was what broke this. Rusev won. In the overall voting tallies, Rusev won by one because him and Owens split it on Twitter.
Oh, wow.
Okay, it makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
And I mean, it was. He's been awesome this year. He's awesome at everything. I love Rusev so much.
You talk about bounce back.
I don't know if you guys watch Total Divas. I do because I like women, and I watch anything WWE. I'll tell you right now. Oh, by the way, Alexa Bliss isn't on this season, by the way. But Rusev is one of the best things on the whole show. You talk about a guy that his personality started to come out. It was awesome.
What I find funny is, too, you talk about a bounce back star for the year.
Oh.
Good God, it's Rusev.
I think this year could be the year that he's nominated next year. I'm hoping.
Has to be.
I'm hoping. And I love Aiden English with him. I hated the vaudevillains. I thought it was the stupidest gimmick, a real shitty gimmick, even for an indie scene. I hated Gotch.
Well,
I thought
Simon
he was
Gotch
awful.
sucked.
He was awful, but I love them together. It's like opposites attract and just make money. There it is. The next one we're going to do NXT Superstar of the Year.
All right.
So the NXT Superstar of the Year nominees were...
Or the AKA Who Should Be on the Main Roster Right Now award.
Well, one is.
Now.
We had Drew McIntyre. We had the glorious Bobby Roode.
Glorious.
We have Andrade Cien Almas.
CN.
He's had a bounce back, too.
He's been phenomenal, especially since he won the title. And we had Aleister Black.
His gimmick's cool. I
The
like his
lazy
gimmick.
for NXT Superstar of the Year goes to... glorious Bobby Roode. This one was like not even that close.
Yeah.
I mean, other guys got votes, but in the end, it wasn't close. Facebook actually picked a different winner, though.
Interesting.
They were close in percentage-wise, but the way this broke down the panel took Bobby Roode at 44%. Aleister Black got more votes than I thought he would, and Almas got more votes than I thought he would. Twitter took Bobby Roode at 56%, and Facebook took Aleister Black at 44%.
Interesting.
That's interesting,
Yeah.
actually. I figured they would pick Drew McIntyre if anybody else.
No. I thought Black would be a guy. My thing is, you're looking at the whole year. To me, Aleister Black's building it for next year.
That is true.
That's the way I looked at it, because to me, it was between those two. And I think Aleister Black's not quite that. I mean, for everything Bobby Roode did in NXT in 2017, Aleister Black's primed to do it for next year.
They built him up properly, though. He could be like Finn Balor's like demon opponent. For
I love Aleister
SummerSlam
Black.
or something like that. If they build that up properly, that could be great.
See, to me, Aleister Black wins the NXT title at Brooklyn this year.
Probably.
If he does,
He's
right.
Hunter's boy. Hunter loves
Yeah.
him.
Well,
I mean, everything you read is they have huge plans for
Well,
him.
he's great in the ring, too, so that's the best part of it. It's not like they're backing a guy who's iffy. They're backing a guy who's like, he's legitimately talented. Look, go with it. Why not?
Couple more on Facebook here. Jeremy Bellin just dropping in. Just give me Rusev's wife, Lana. I ain't fighting you on that. Absolutely. And then Jeremy Bellin also says, love the Divas. So,
Okay.
do we got anything over there? You good?
Nope, we're good.
All right. So,
We got about 18 minutes left.
yeah, we're almost done. We're actually almost through, guys.
All right, let's roll.
All right. NXT Female Superstar of the Year.
Okay.
So, this one was interesting as well. Actually, no, it wasn't this one as much. This one was pretty easy.
I could imagine.
You're gonna know who wins when I read
could
the
imagine.
nominees.
Yeah.
I was going to say, this could have been one of those.
The other one is
this,
close.
This
I
could have
mean,
been one of those
it's-
that got announced during the commercial.
I mean,
Yeah.
let's be honest. It is so obviously Ember Moon. You know, I mean, just kidding.
Listen, I mean, I'm just saying. So the nominees were Ember Moon, Nikki Cross, Asuka, and Ruby Riott. Ryan the Drumbo. The lazy goes to Asuka. Of course, Asuka.
There was really no
No.
no competition on that one.
No. So this, I believe this was the most lopsided vote of any of the categories.
Yeah.
I object. Why do we not have Billy Kay?
Why do we not have Peyton Royce?
For years.
I demand a recount.
What is this? The presidential
Crybaby
election?
Sons of bitches.
No, we just like the Australian chicks, that's all.
No, Russia.
Oh, I love them too.
So Russia hacked in
It's not
and
the
forced
hottest
Asuka to
one.
win this.
It's not the
Okay.
hottest ones,
All right,
guys.
so it's
Damn it.
Asuka, and we know.
So
we,
it is
we
Asuka.
know what the deal is.
Listen,
there.
panel had 89%, Twitter 82%, Facebook 78%.
When they allow you to quote unquote retire from NXT undefeated, like you don't even have to lose before you go up to the main roster.
Yeah,
Apparently.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so we don't need to get into much discussion on
No,
that. I mean,
I
we knew
can't-
that
no.
one was coming.
Is it weird? I cannot wait till Royal Rumble just to see Asuka. It's going to be so awesome. It'd be the first time seeing her live, so I'm so excited
She's awesome.
for that.
Believe
I can't
me,
wait
she's
to see it.
amazing. All right, so let's do match of the year. Match of the year is a fun one. This one was actually pretty close too, guys. Match of the year. The nominees for match of the year. These ones I do have to read because I don't remember all the events. Okay. We had obviously Omega and Okada for WrestleKingdom 11.
Okay.
We had John Cena and AJ Styles at Royal Rumble. We had Johnny Gargano and Andrade Cien Almas at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn.
Not bad. Not bad.
Phenomenal match.
Phenomenal match.
And
Absolutely.
we had the New Day versus the Usos at Hell in a Cell. I will say, after I name these, there are probably a couple that I omitted that I will take into account. But I still don't think they would have won over the match that won anyway.
By the way, this was the worst one to vote for, Chrome. This was the
It was the
worst
hardest
one to
one,
vote
yeah.
for.
it always is. Listen, I could have probably put 8 possibilities
Yeah.
on there, but I couldn't put 8 possibilities because Twitter doesn't let you, and Facebook only gives you 2.
Basically,
so.
all I just want to say is thank you for making that tough.
This may be one of those that this year we actually do. Let's put up like 2 different polls and take the top 2 from
could
each
do
of
that.
those and then come back around for a second round
We
on
could
Match
do
of the
that.
Year.
You could do that. One thing I'll say before Ryan rolls the drums, every platform picked a different match.
I could imagine.
Nice.
So, Ryan. The lazy for match of the year goes to Omega versus Okada at WrestleKingdom 11.
7-star match makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't. What I'll say is, I assumed the majority would take that, but what I appreciate is that people realized there was other great matches. Because last year when that happened, everyone said nothing's gonna beat this match this year, and I'm happy that people realized there were other really great, even WWE matches that lived up to a similar expectation.
That's awesome.
I'm glad you brought up, that you may have omitted a couple, because you and I were texting back and forth. I would do myself a disservice if I didn't mention, let's just call it an honorable mention in my opinion, Pete Dunne versus Tyler Bate at NXT TakeOver.
It's on the list. I wrote it down.
It's on the list.
That was a brutal match.
That was my true
That was a
match
phenomenal
of the year.
That was a phenomenal match. AJ versus Finn was a phenomenal match. I didn't even think of that one. I'm not going to lie, but I still don't think it would have beat Okada and Omega, so I didn't feel too bad about it.
It's fair.
But, I mean, it's tough to take. I mean, people will say, well, take Cena and AJ. That was a fantastic match.
Yes.
It was.
How do you take it off? And, I mean, with what it came out of it, whether you love Cena or not, it was number 16, finally getting over the AJ hump. It was a great match.
I've always been the guy who never liked John Cena, but I'll tell you right now, I was happy for him. Like, you know what? Cena, for all the things I've said about him, he does deserve it.
Listen, the guy deserves
He
17.
deserves it.
I'm always going
He
to say
deserves it.
The way the breakdown went for this one was our panel took Omega and Okada, and it was at, I didn't put the percentage, but it was pretty heavy. I mean, we had 9 voters. It was 6. The second closest one was the Usos and New Day, and that was 3. So that was all the votes. Then we had Twitter had New Day and Usos at 67%. And Facebook had Cena and AJ at 43%.
There you
so
go.
it was, I mean, and people voted for all of them. Gargano and Almas got some votes on each one of them. So, I mean, it was, and it says a lot about those guys who aren't the sexiest names as far as, when you hear like an Okada, Omega, Cena, AJ, New Day, Usos, that people recognize it. And you, like you said, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. I mean, that was a fantastic match. But I think that they picked the right choice on that one. We got 3 categories left. We're going to hit Woman of the Year.
Okay.
This one was a little bit closer. This was one of the one I meant when I said the first time that it was closer. So the nominees for Woman of the Year were Alexa Bliss. I know Charles is probably in a corner right now, getting all pumped up, literally.
Okay. Whatever works.
We had Asuka. We had Charlotte, and we had, and then we had, this was a wild card, Rosemary. I don't know if you even know who Rosemary is if you watch.
TNA, yeah.
But when you look outside of WWE, somebody who made a name for themselves that a lot of people are saying could be a big name for WWE in 2018, she's gone from one of the shittiest organizations and been to me, she's actually must-see on there.
Well,
she's one of the 15 minutes I watch on there. She's 10 of them.
Well, when you when you come out of an organization that has done almost nothing right, and you wind up being one of the greatest things from being a nobody to being something, like you're doing something right.
Yeah. So, drum roll, please.
Oops.
The lazy goes to
Alexa
Bliss. Little Miss Bliss. Tom,
I can't hate.
Tom's going to be happy. This was won by Charlotte last year.
Now, I will say this, though. Alexa deserves the lazy and everything. But one thing I will say, I think Charlotte should have been the first one to win both the Raw and SmackDown women's titles. My personal opinion, nothing against Bliss. She should have been a double champion, too. But I thought Charlotte should have got it first. Just because,
it's a
I don't
fair
know, she
point.
kind of set the standard to begin with, and then you just rolled on from there.
No, it's a fair point. But, I mean, they've given so many firsts to Charlotte.
They have,
I mean,
and that's
it's
that's
okay to
true.
give it to somebody else.
Can I borrow a Dusty Rhodes quote here?
Yeah.
The sin's the father, being paid for by the daughter. If you will.
This one was actually pretty close, though. Our panel took Alexa Bliss at 44%. Twitter took her at 53%, and Asuka was Facebook's choice at 56%. They were very flippy-floppy on both, though.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's if Asuka had won both, it would have been no surprise.
No. I mean, I wouldn't have debated that with anybody. Oh, I did forget to mention Feud of the Year, and this is no bullshit, and I mentioned this before. Chrome and Tito won last year's Feud of the Year.
So you have a lazy to your name, Mr. Chrome.
And I was not the one to put that on there last year.
Put yourself over.
I did not put that in there
on
last
his own
year.
show.
Puts himself over.
It's like Mr. McMahon winning his own championship.
I did not put that in there
And the
last
ECW
year,
title.
but I gladly accepted the lazy for that.
It's like when Dusty was the NWA champion and the producer was Virgil Riley Runnels Jr.
All right, we're down to the two big ones. We got non-WWE Superstar of the Year. So we wanted to go outside, not clump them together, give these guys a chance.
Now, let's refresh our memory. How many of these are not NJPW wrestlers? So that's going to be a real tough question.
One?
Okay, interesting. Let's go.
I'm looking. Yeah, one.
Okay, so one is an underdog. Let's
So-
go.
All right, so we had Cody Rhodes, Kenny Omega, Okada, and Matt Riddle.
Kazuchika Okada.
The Rainmaker.
Yeah, so we had and the lazy went to Kenny Omega. Kenny
He's only-
Omega.
Yeah.
He's only the best wrestler in the world
But
right
you
now,
would
so-
be shocked how close this one was.
Okay.
Because
Well, hold on. Let me guess. The Okada, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
No.
What?
Rhodes?
Not Okada?
Cody Rhodes.
Really?
Oh, okay. Interesting. I'm
Cody
a little
Rhodes.
surprised by the public
So
on that
Kenny
one.
Omega was definitely the panel's choice at 67%. But on Twitter, Cody Rhodes took 55%. And on Facebook, Cody Rhodes took 56%.
Oh, well done, Mr. Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, I mean, listen. You can't
Interesting.
say that Cody didn't have a monster
no.
year.
Oh, he did. I mean,
I mean,
the
Kenny
American
Omega
Nightmare.
has had a wonderful year, but I can't say it was head and shoulders above Cody. Cody's one of the hottest selling acts in the sport anywhere in the world.
Out of all of his inceptions, I love this new incarnation of him. He is the classic wrestling villain.
Yeah,
by
it's great.
every sense of the word. And his wife is involved in it too, which is even funnier. It's just that makes it
absolutely.
even
well,
better.
now, she's finally kind of feeding into the whole heel thing. I just want to mention with Matt Riddle, if you don't know who Matt Riddle is, remember his name.
Google
he is
him. YouTube him.
huge on the independent scene. Former MMA, UFC fighter. Had a little problem staying away from the ganja. But he took up pro wrestling, and I'm telling you right now, it's already been talk. Hunter's salivating at some point to bring this guy in. Everybody wants him. He's the hottest guy in the indies right now all over the world. Look up Matt Riddle. Check him out. He's awesome. And I was fortunate enough in 2017 to work a match that he was in.
Oh,
So
wow.
It was
Nice.
pretty great
Nice.
with CZW. It was awesome.
Did you take a bump?
I did not take a bump, but I did hand him a title belt to hit David Starr with.
Nice.
So it
There
was
you
pretty
go.
great.
There you go.
I have it on. I'll show you the DVD sometime. It's on pay-per-view. This is the big one, guys. This is Superstar of the Year. So I think this is the one that we
boy.
get very, very, very intrigued with.
James Ellsworth.
Jesus. Jobber of the Year.
It is the years of
Yo,
Ellsworth.
I loved Ellsworth,
So
by
did
the
I.
way. He was awesome when he became a heel manager. Okay. So, WWE Superstar of the Year. We got Roman Reigns. We have AJ Styles. We have Braun Strowman. And we have The Miz, who was, what was he? Rolling Stone's choice. So, for WWE Superstar of the Year, the 2017 Lazy goes to the 2016 winner as well, AJ Styles.
The phenomenal.
The phenomenal
phenomenal AJ Styles. This one was not even close, believe it or not. Strowman was kind of close second, but AJ got 56% from the panel. Strowman was second with us. AJ got 57% from Twitter, but he got 89% on Facebook. So in the overall votes, he was easily the popular vote. AJ is now a two-time and only winner of Superstar of the Year on the
You
Lazies.
referenced it earlier. He finished 2016 and went into 2017 with a title. Worked a ridiculous amount of matches in 2017.
Won the U.S. title.
Won the U.S. title, subsequently lost the U.S. title, but then
Got it back.
got it back, lost it again, but then won the World Heavyweight Championship and finished out 2017, went into 2018 with the world title again. So how can you even question that result?
Absolutely. Yeah, and real quick on Facebook, Edwin Jr., he's trolling me, says, Natty said hi, Chrome. It's a whole conversation earlier. That's for another day. But he said it better be AJ, and it was AJ. So I hope that you're happy. I think a lot of people are going to be happy with that. Yeah, guys, that's the Lazies, man.
What were you going to say, Maddie? You look like you had something that you were poised to
throw
out there.
The funny part is with the – did you guys voted for AJ or no?
I did.
I voted for AJ.
I actually voted for Braun.
Listen, it was tough for me. I'm not going to lie. It was a tough choice.
And the only reason why is, like, yeah, AJ won the belts and everything like that, but he also won the WWE title last year. So I kind of thought, like, well, AJ's still in familiar territory. I thought Braun just being put into the picture immediately and just getting the rapport that he got this year and having the matches he had, I thought he was phenomenal this year when it just compared to, at least in my opinion, because just being the fact that he was a nobody, and now all of a sudden look at what he's doing.
But I think he's poised to be a guy who is a serious competitor. No, I mean, obviously not just with the Lazies, but just going forward when you talk about the different, different wrestling magazines and dirt sheets and all that stuff when they give out their awards. He's going to be a guy that more and more in the next couple of years is going to be a top guy that's going to be listed. I think this year was the catapult to get there, which is why he's easily the breakout superstar. But AJ, I mean, I think AJ had an even better year this year than he even had last year.
But do we see Strowman as a guy that they will put a belt on and have him as their top guy?
Yes.
Or is he one of those guys that absolutely does not need a title to be considered a top guy?
Well, he's already a top guy.
So he's always, quote unquote, the threat or the hunter, but never the hunted.
Well, the funny part is that I like the way that they kind of booked him with Triple H, where he's not going to join the Authority. He's nothing like that. He just simply he doesn't like Triple H. Triple H is scared to death of him. What I like is that he could be that heel or that babyface, whichever champion we go, or tweener. We'll go with the tweener. And he could carry the Universal title and be that unstoppable force, and then you can find that person. You're like, you know what? We can build another big star. All we need to do is put the belt on him if we have that guy in mind.
Yeah.
And he could be the one to knock Strowman off.
Could be.
I've always drawn comparisons, for Braun Strowman to early 2000s Kane, when, he is the threat. I really do see a lot of, comparisons between the two. I really do.
Yeah. And so we're going to get off in the air. One last thing. Somebody asked me just to run down the winners, so I'll read them off real quick.
Go ahead.
So best non-wrestling segment, Festival of Friendship, Breakout Star of the Year, Braun Strowman, Bounce Back Superstar of the Year was The Miz. We had Feud of the Year was Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns. Twitter King of the Year was Rusev. Mark Out Moment of the Year, The Hardys return at WrestleMania 33. Match of the Year, Omega vs. Okada at WrestleKingdom 11. We had Commentator of the Year went to Corey Graves. Woman of the Year, Alexa Bliss. Tag Team of the Year, The Usos. NXT Female Superstar of the Year, Asuka. NXT Superstar of the Year, Bobby Roode. Non-WWE Superstar of the Year, Kenny Omega. And WWE Superstar of the Year was AJ Styles. So, guys, that is your list. That is the 2017 Lazies winners. So, thank you guys for joining us. I did want to say before we get off the air, next week, if you're a CZW fan or just want to learn about, from a guy who works in the business, Nick Papagiorgio, senior referee of CZW, OPW, On Point Wrestling, and a couple other local organizations. He will be on the show next week with us live in studio. We got a couple other guys coming in who wrestle locally, so we're going to have that. Lots to look forward to. Matt's going to read us out, but thank you for joining us for the Lazies, guys. I hope you enjoyed it.
And the Lazies and Lazy Booking was brought to you by BMW Vallejo City. We are in the BMW Vallejo City studios, and Liberty Event Rentals, located at 2154 East Cambridge Street in Philadelphia, PA. And they got tables, chairs, tent linens, anything for your party or event needs. And you can visit them at www.libertyeventrentals.com.
Too sweet, brothers.